Hello everyone, my name is Elizabeth and I'm here today to do a mixed media project with you. So this is the two set of drawers I've got here, but that doesn't mean to say that we have to get them fresh and new. We can recycle stuff that we've got at home that we want to give a new lease of life to, or we can nip out to the charity shops and pick up one of these drawer sets, or any sort of mixed media project that you can see yourself working with. So that could be a small table, a tray, a book, anything. So I'm going to show you some techniques, and even if you don't want to do a full big project like this, we're going to be breaking this drawer set down into different techniques on the sides, the drawers, the legs, so we can take away little parts of it so you can learn from this. Imagination Crafts have brought out a new rice paper USB. So this has got 50 brand new designs on there, and they're all split into different categories such as that autumn, black and white, shabby chic, steampunk. So there really is a theme on there for everyone. So I'm going to be showing you the rice papers that I've printed off today and chosen for this project. So let's start with the papers, because I know you're dying to see these. So I have printed these out onto sumi paper. So I have done a video on how to actually print onto sumi paper, because I know that can be a little bit confusing for everyone. How do you get it onto this paper? How do you pop it into the printer? So I've shown you a step-by-step tutorial on how to do so. So I'm going to be taking the Cadence Decoupage Plus glue today. So this is the glue that goes onto all your hard surfaces, and if you're wanting to put anything onto fabric, it is your Cadence fabric decoupage glue. When it's heat set, fully washable, but for this purpose we're going to be using the Decoupage Plus. So I'm going to be using a brush to apply this, and I'm going to be applying this straight onto the front of the drawer. So we're going to go right up to the edge and start applying it and fold this bit back. So as we're going down, we want to make sure that there's no air bubbles and no creases in it, and popping it down. You can also use a dry cut and use sponge, just so we're flattening all them edges down, getting all them air bubbles out, and sticking it down. It's important as well that the rice paper does go onto a plain white surface, or something that's plain, because if it's a dark surface, the rice paper won't pop and you won't get that vibrant colour. So making sure that whatever surface it's going on, it needs to be a lighter colour. So as you can see here, we're going to get to the end of where the drawer set is. So what we need to do is we need to take another brush with some water on, because the beauty of the rice paper is it does wet and it does tear. So we're just going to put a line down here, and we're just going to tear the rice paper away, and we're going to get a beautiful feathered edge. So we need to make sure that we have a seamless blend into the next section of the rice paper. So what I'm going to do is going to take another rice paper and wet the first edge, so straight line down, and you can see how easy this tears away. And then stick the rice paper down. So I want a little bit of overlap, but not too much, because we don't want to see that seam. Brilliant. So now we've got that seamless blend into the rice papers. We are going to dry brush this back, so don't worry if you've not got the blend or it's not gone quite right, because we can dry brush this down and really knock it back. So I'm going to do the other drawer and leave this to dry, then we're going to sand off all these flappy edges, because obviously we want that nice, crisp, neat drawer. So now the decoupage glue is dry, I've just speeded up this process with a hairdryer, but you can leave this to dry naturally. Probably takes about 20 minutes to dry. It needs to be bone dry for the next step, because we're going to be sanding it off. And if the glue is not quite dry, it will pull the rice paper off as well, which is what we don't want. So make sure that when your rice paper, it needs to be bone dry. So I'm going to be taking some sandpaper and a nail file. So both of these tools are crucial for the next part, because we need to sand off the edges. We need to get that nice crisp clean edge, because obviously we don't want all of these bits. So we're going to take the sandpaper and we're just going to take off the rough edges. So in your hard to reach areas, we need to take the nail file, and this is great for all your other home decor pieces or your canvas projects where you can't get the rice paper off with either a sand block or some paper. Use a little nail file. You can even go smaller than this if you get like a little travel nail file. It's really convenient just to get into all the little nooks and crannies, and you can just peel it straight off and then keep going with it. And then we're going to go back into our decoupage glue, because what we want to do is we just want to seal any of them loose fibres that I've just managed to sneak their way out. So that's the front of the drawers all decoupaged up, ready to set drying while we carry on with the next part of the project. So do remember, if your furniture piece that you're starting off with isn't like a light colour or white, make sure you do put a layer of primer under it, or the white hybrid acrylic, or you can even use our white gesso as well. That does act as a primer, making sure that that base has to be a light colour or white. And make sure you do save all your scraps of rice paper, because this can be used on so many more other projects. So I like to keep a little folder or a little box just full of scraps, just so I can use them onto different projects, because nothing's ever wasted. So I'm just going to pop these drawers to one side, and then we're going to paint the legs. So I'm going to be using this lovely dark emerald green colour. So I'm going to pop some out onto a paper plate. Now I like to work onto a paper plate so I can blend all my colours together really easily. So it acts as like a mini paint palette really, and then I can just really easily clean up any paint that's left over, scoop it back into the bottle if it's not been mixed with other colours, and then just pop it straight in the bin. So it's easy wash up. You can see how good coverage the paint is. So one coat will paint all of the legs. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint all 4 of the legs. And now we're going to move on to the drawer set. So I'm going to start off with the top. So to paint the top, I'm again using the hybrid acrylic. So make sure when you're using the hybrid acrylics, you do give them a good shake, just to make sure that all the pigment has blended. So apply 1 coat of paint to the top. That's it, and now the top's done. We've just got to wait for this to dry. Now we can either wait 10 minutes for this to dry, or heat it up with a hairdryer. I'm just going to dry it off, and then we're going to come back. So now that's all dry, I'm going to be taking the very chalky wash effect and using the wood graining tool onto the top. So this is going to create a wood paneling effect. But don't worry if you've not got a wood grainer, you can either skip this step, or we can use stencils, leave it plain, put stamps on it, distress it back. So don't worry if you've not got the wood graining tool, we can still apply decoration in a different way. You don't have to be too precious on how this paint looks, because we're going to be changing it completely, and it won't matter that it's streaky, or you've not put enough on in places, or you've applied too much in areas. Don't worry, because that will add to the effect of the wash effect. And drag it through in a rocking motion all the way to the end, and then take off the paint. And using the cut and use sponge, I'm just going to apply this all around the edge. So now the top's done, the front's painted, we're going to paint the sides. So I'm going to be using a pastel green for this. So again, making sure we give it a good shake. And I'm going to go ahead and paint the sides. Okay, so I've already cut out my stencil. So this stencil is from the Imagination Craft Stencil USB, but this can be used in the replacement of a stencil that you've already got from us, or any stencil that you've got existing from home. And again, you can leave this plain on the sides, or you can add stamps, dry brushing into it, or any other embellishments that you want to put onto the side. But I'm going to be adding the stencil on today. So I'm going to be taking the Cadence Stencil Spray. Always give it a good shake, and I'm going to apply a light mist onto the back of the stencil. And then I'm going to be stenciling onto the side. So I'm just going to tip it up and place the stencil on, making sure that I get it right in place on where I would like it. And then taking a stipple brush, I'm going to go into the paint and then take away a lot of the excess paint. It's always important when you're stenciling to go a little bit at a time, and then you can build up that intensity of the colour. Reel back the stencil, like so. I want to add a little bit of vintage to it, so I'm going to add the brown. So I'm going to be taking a distress paste. So the distress paste is brilliant for adding that vintage shabby chic look to your projects. It can be watered down and used as a paint as well. And if it's put with the extender, it can be used as a wood graining product as well. So that's it, this is the drawer set created, and remember this is just a little bit of inspiration for you. You could pop this onto books, trays, anything you find lying around in a charity shop, or something at home you want to give a new lease of life to. Remember, we give you 50 papers on this USB, but you can drag it into Minecraft Studio if you have it, and create so many more endless opportunities with your rice paper USB. So thank you so much for watching today, and make sure you do leave any videos that you would like to see in the comments below, or any opinions on this drawer set I've made today, and make sure to give me a like and a follow on all my social medias. Thank you for watching.